seated. Good morning, members of the jury. Okay, today you're going to be seeing several videos and images which contain portions that are blurred or blacked from view. These edits are appropriate for reasons that have nothing to do with the case, and I've ordered that it be done. You are instructed not to speculate on the reason for these edits or to draw any negative inferences or other inferences against either party. All right, the state may call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Alayna Albrecht-Payton.
All right, please come forward and stand in back of the witness chair. And raise your right hand, please. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully testify to the witness cause?
Yes.
Please be seated. Will you please state your full name and spell it?
Alayna Beth Albrecht-Payton, ALBRECHT, -PAYTON.
All right. A couple of things to keep in mind when you're testifying. The court reporter in front of you is taking down everything that's being said, so you have to answer with a yes or a no instead of shaking your head.
Okay.
Please don't say or because that doesn't make for a clear record.
Okay.
If you don't understand a question, let the lawyer know. If an objection is made, you need to stop talking immediately.
Okay.
And don't answer the question unless I tell you to.
Okay.
Only one person can speak at a time, so please wait until the question is finished before you start answering.
Okay.
All right. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Albrecht-Payton.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. As good as I can be. Trying to be. Yeah.
I understand. We'll take it slow. Try to talk directly into the microphone if you can.
Okay.
And if it's more comfortable for you to take the mask off, that's okay. Whatever makes you comfortable, all right?
Yeah.
But we'll just take it step by step.
Okay.
I'm going to start with some questions about your background.
Okay.
Can you tell the jury how old you are?
I am 20 years old.
And what city do you live in?
I live in St. Paul, Minnesota.
How far do you go in school?
12th grade.
And are you working right now?
Yeah, I am.
And what do you do for work?
I work at a gas station.
And
Sorry, I work at a gas station.
thank you. Do you know Daunte Wright?
I do.
And how did you come to know Daunte Wright?
Through social media, through Facebook.
Did you have a relationship with Daunte Wright?
Yes.
And what type of relationship was that?
It was just like a beginning, like of a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship.
And you said it was the beginning of a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Had you just gotten to know him or meet him recently?
Yeah.
And when I say recently, that was shortly before April 11th of this year?
Yes.
About how long before that had you met him?
We've talked for about like 2-3 weeks.
So you were just beginning this relationship.
Yes.
So you didn't have an order for protection or any court order against him, did you?
No.
You were just meeting him and just getting to know him, is that right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to direct your attention to April 11th of this year, all right? And I'm going to ask you some questions about that day. Had Daunte Wright stayed at your place the night before April 11th?
I believe so, yeah.
And at some point on April 11th, did you go with him to his parents' house?
Yes, I did.
Did you wait in the car when he went inside?
Yes, I did.
And was there anyone else in the car with you at that time?
No, there was not.
And what car was it that you were in with him?
It was a white car. I'm not familiar with like car brands or names.
Was it Daunte's car?
It was Daunte's car.
And then after you waited in the car, did you leave with him in that car from his parents' house?
Yes.
And who was driving?
Daunte was driving.
And where were you sitting?
I was in the passenger seat.
And that's the front passenger seat?
Yes.
Now, at some point while you were driving in that white car with Daunte, right, did you get pulled over by the police?
Yes, we did.
Did you learn why you were pulled over?
Like, it was multiple reasons. Like, it was the air fresheners and the tabs and a warrant.
And did you hear Daunte, right, interact with the police when you guys were pulled over?
Yeah, like, kind of. I remember mostly him just talking on the phone with his mom and them just telling me to hang up.
Okay. So was there a point in time where the officer who had pulled you over stepped away from the white car that you were in?
Yes.
And then did the officers come back at some point?
Yes.
Now, in that car that you were in, this white car, was there a gun in that car or any weapon of any kind?
No.
After that, Your Honor, lack of foundation. Should we know that?
I'll rephrase, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Do you know if there was a gun or a weapon of any kind in that car?
No.
So there was no weapon in that car.
No, there was not.
Do you know if Daunte had a gun or a weapon on his body or that he was carrying a gun that day?
He was not.
Okay. So at some point you said the officer left, walked away, and then came back to that white car that you were in. What happened when the officers came back to that white car?
When they came back, from what I can remember, he just kept asking them, like, they would ask him to step out the car, and he kept asking them, like, why? Like, why do you want me to step out the car? He kept asking what he did. And they kept telling him that they wouldn't tell him until he got out the car. So, like, eventually after him just kept asking why and, like, not. So then he stepped out the car.
And how were you feeling while this was going on?
I'm really nervous and scared. I don't really have a good past with police, so every time I encounter, I just get nervous.
So you were nervous and scared. How was Daunte behaving? How did he appear to be feeling during that interaction?
He was really scared. Like, I've never seen him like that before. Because if you know Daunte, like, he's just really happy, he's positive, and you can't really be, like, sad or depressed or angry or mad around him. And, like, he was just, like, just so nervous and flustered, and I could tell he was just scared, and he just...
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to stop you right there for just one sec. Take your time. If you need a tissue, go ahead. So it sounds like you're describing Daunte as being nervous and scared. And take a deep breath. We'll take it slow. But I'm going to ask you to describe for the jury when you said that the police asked Daunte to step out of the car, what happened next?
When he stepped out of the car, I don't remember too much of the scuffling. I mean, I've seen the video footage, you know, when it first came out, like months ago, but like memory-wise, I don't remember the scuffling. I just remember after.
So you said you remember after, and you had described just before this that you said that they asked him to put down the phone, something like that. What do you remember about that?
Like, because his mom, he was trying to ask her if, like, he had any warrants or if he was in trouble, and she kept telling him no.
All right, one second. I'm just going to stop you right there.
Sorry.
When he was stepping out of the car,
Yeah.
what do you remember happening with that phone? Did he have a phone in his hand?
Oh no, they kept telling him to put it down, and he dropped it so
Okay.
he can get out. And
So he put down the phone to get out of the car.
yeah,
Did he then get out of the car?
yes.
And then you said you didn't remember much of the scuffling. What do you remember happening next?
I just remember like hearing just the boom, the bang of the gun, and then I remember just looking up and seeing like another white car, just like coming directly towards us. Like I remember lifting up my head real quick and just boom, and I can't tell if it was before or after, but I just remember like trying to just get him up. Like I was the only one who out of everybody there who was trying to help him. And I was trying to push on his chest and call his name. And he wasn't answering me. He was just gasping. Like just take breaths of air. So and I just remember being walked out of like a car and being escorted.
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to stop you right there.
Sorry.
I know it's tough, so just take a minute, and we'll just take it piece by piece, okay?
Okay.
So it sounds like you said you remember seeing a car, another car. Is that what you were describing? That you saw another car? And then you said you were pressing on his chest. Is that what you
Like
said?
his stomach area, probably right here. I
Okay.
didn't know exactly where he got shot, so.
Okay, so let's just take that part step by step.
Okay.
So you said you remember hearing a bang or something like that. And then after that, you saw another car. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you looking at Daunte at that point?
Yeah.
And so what did you see when you looked at Daunte, right?
It just really happened fast. I remember just looking at, it wasn't really him, but it was kind of like him, but the floor, I could see his hands were on the wheel, and that's why I was confused. And then I looked up at the car.
And you looked up and you saw a car. What happened at that point when you saw the car?
We hit the car.
So the car crashed. Is that right?
Yes.
And then what did you do? You were describing you were putting your hands on Daunte, on Mr. Wright. Can you describe that part, please?
I took my belt off and I grabbed whatever was in the car. I don't remember if it was a sweater, a towel, or a blanket or something. I just grabbed whatever it was and put it on his chest. You see in movies and TV shows. I didn't know what to do, so I just put my hands over his chest and I just tried to hold it, and I was just trying to scream his name, and I was just trying to have him talk to me, and just kept saying Daunte, Daunte, just say something, please, just talk to me. And he just couldn't. I know he tried, I know he wanted to, because I replay that image in my head daily.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there for just 1 second. Take a breath. If you need a tissue, feel free. And if you need a break, you just let me know. All right?
Okay.
You said that you were pushing on his chest because you had seen something like that on TV. Were you trying to stop the bleeding?
Yeah.
And you were trying to talk to him at that point. Is that right? What was he doing? Was he...
He was just I don't want to demonstrate how he was, but he just had his arms folded, kind of, and he's just gasping, just he just wasn't saying anything.
So he
I was
was.
trying to get him to like say a word at least or something, so I knew he had a chance of being okay, but he just wasn't saying anything.
So
But
you're.
he was alive, so I didn't think he was still alive.
Okay. So you're describing that he was gasping. You were trying to get him to respond to you,
Yeah.
but he couldn't say any words. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you were trying to put pressure on him. Is that right?
Yes.
At some point, did that stop? The gasping stop and the moving stop?
I don't remember. I think I was pulled out of the car. I don't recall.
Okay. But the car that you were in came to a stop at some point. Is that right?
Yes.
And how was Daunte, Mr. Wright, how was he positioned in the car? Was he leaning back or leaning forward? Do you remember?
He was leaning back. It was like this. That's what I remember.
Okay.
He was leaning back.
And at no point, at any point, were you able to get him to respond to you or move or get up?
Unfortunately, no, I was not.
Okay. Now, while you were in that car with Daunte, with Mr. Wright, was there another call? Was there a video call that came through?
Yeah.
Tell the jury about that.
It was his mom.
And what happened during that call?
Yeah, it was a video call. She was asking what happened. I know I was just delirious. I was just screaming like they shot him. They shot him. And then I pointed the camera on him. And I was so sorry. And I did that because I was sorry.
It's okay. We'll take a minute. We'll take a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just pointed the camera at him. I was just in shock and I apologize, but yeah.
Okay. Hang on right there just so I make sure that I'm clear about what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Take a deep breath. You said that you pointed the camera at him
Yeah.
and it was his mom on the phone.
Yes.
And you were saying you were just sorry that you did that?
Yes.
And why are you sorry that you did that?
Because no, mom should have to see that she's so dead on her phone, on a video call. Just out of nowhere, like I know how my mom felt when she couldn't find me for hours afterwards. So I just know that I hurt her by doing that. And I apologize, Katie.
Okay. So I hear you saying that no mom should see her son dead on the phone, and you know that that hurt her, and you apologize for that?
Yeah, just that period, but yeah.
All right. Take a moment. After that call, was that when you got out of the car?
I don't recall. I do remember getting out of the car at some point, though.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I would offer Exhibits 166 and 167. I don't believe there's any objection.
Could you identify the exhibits?
Those are
please?
photographs of the white Buick.
Is there an objection to those exhibits? Those exhibits will be admitted into evidence and you may publish.
Thank you. We'll start with 160. Actually, could we put 166 and 167 next to each other on the screen, please? All right, I'm putting on this screen Exhibits 166 and 167. Is that the white car that you were in?
Yes.
And in Exhibit 167, there's a close-up of some damage to the windshield that I just circled. Is that the side of the car that you were on?
Yes.
And did you sustain some injuries as a result of all this?
I did.
And we'll get into those a little bit later, but do you believe that the injuries that you sustained were related to this crash?
I do.
Okay. You said that you got out of the car. At this point, Your Honor, I would offer Exhibit 29, which is the video of Ms. Albrecht-Payton walking out of the car.
Any objection to Exhibit 29?
Previous objection is over.
Okay. Exhibit 29 will be admitted over defense objection, which I overruled.
All right, and we will publish that now, please.
Watching me! Okay. Just keep your hands out of your pockets. Okay. Come back here. Come back here. Okay. Come over here. Come over here. Just don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Who else is in the car? Huh? Nobody? Okay, just drop it. Just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I got it. I got it, ma'am. I will give it to you. Okay, put your hands behind your back. You're not under arrest. Just put your hands behind your back. Okay? You're not under arrest. Just put your hands behind your back. Okay, I'm just going to cover this. I don't know what's going on. Okay, who else is in the car now? Nobody? There's nobody else in the car, it's just you? Who? Him? Who's him? Daunte? Does he have a gun or anything? No? It's just you and Daunte. Okay. Just one other person inside. All right, are you going to search her and stuff? Okay. Huh?
Were you explaining to the officer at that point that there was no one else in the car other than you and Daunte?
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about your injuries. How were you feeling at this point when you were coming out of that car?
I couldn't really feel anything. I just remember my jaw, I just remember walking and my blood was just spilling from my mouth.
And did paramedics take you to the hospital after that?
Yes. I was told not right away, but yes.
And what were the injuries that you learned about that you had? You learned after the fact what your injuries were. What were those injuries?
I had a lacerated lip, so I have a scar. I had stitches. It went all the way through. I don't know what happened, but all the way through my lip. Stitches in my ear and a fractured jaw. I had wires on my jaw for about 6 weeks, maybe a little more. And I sustained like a concussion, and yeah.
So you said you had a laceration, a concussion, a broken jaw, and that your broken jaw was wired shut for some period of time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you have to have surgery as well?
I did.
At this point, Your Honor, I would offer Exhibits 30 and 31. Those are the photos of the injuries.
Okay. 30 and 31 will be admitted over defense objection.
And we would publish Exhibit 30 at this time. All right, I've put on the screen Exhibit 30. Can you just describe what's shown here?
That is my left ear.
Sorry, you said that you had to have something done to your left ear. Can you explain that?
Yeah, that is my left lacerated ear. So they had to stitch somewhere in, like, can I write on it or no?
You can use, there should be actually a little pen
I
style.
had to get stitches, like, right here in that area.
Okay. And then we'll publish Exhibit 31, please. What's shown in Exhibit 31?
That's my jaw. It's my lip too. Where I believe I probably bit it or something. I don't know, but that's the gigantic hole.
So you said you had a hole in your lip and a broken jaw.
Yeah.
Is this what you looked like the day of this incident on April 11th?
Yes.
Have you had long-term impacts from that broken jaw or the injuries that you suffered?
Yeah.
Can you describe what that has been like to the jury, please?
So my jaw, it's weird. It's this way, so I've had to get used to a whole new jaw. As you can see, like when I open my mouth or whatever, it goes to a certain way. And just like when I sleep, just weird, like it's hard to explain it. My teeth will just not be aligned, and it'll feel like I'm biting just hard a lot. So it's different, but.
Did you have pain for quite some time?
Said what? Sorry.
Did you experience pain for a while?
Yes.
And were you given pain medications both on this day and afterward to treat your pain?
No, just once after my surgery.
After your surgery?
Yes.
Okay. But the paramedics, did they also treat you on your way?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How would you like me to address you? Ms. Payton, is that
Yes, whatever is easiest for you to pronounce, yeah.
all right? I'm going to ask you just a few questions about this incident. Do you remember when Mr. Wright was getting out of the car that he was hesitant?
When he was getting out of the car? No.
Yeah. Do you remember saying to him, just do it, just go, when the officers asked him to get out of the car?
No, I do not remember.
Have you looked at the video of this incident?
Not the full one, no.
Excuse me?
Not the full one, no.
Well, did you look at the video of the...
The ones that... Sorry.
Just let me finish the question.
Yeah, sorry.
Have you looked at the video of the one where Officer Lucky was telling him to get out of the car, and he was asking why? Did you see that one?
No.
Okay. What video did you look at?
The ones that they published for, like, the world, like on YouTube, the news, just the ones where he was out of the car already being handcuffed.
So you did not see him going back into the car?
Well, yes, that's the video.
Okay. And let's back up a little. You testified that you had known Mr. Wright for how long?
About 2-3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
when did you first start dating him?
We were never really official because we didn't get the chance to.
Well, he stayed at your house the night before.
Yeah.
How long had he stayed at your house prior to the incident?
Just a couple nights, not too many though, but he did stay with me.
Okay. And when did you first date him? Like, you went out, you met him. Did you meet him on social media?
Yes.
Okay. When did you first meet him personally?
When I first met him personally,
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact date, but it was in it's like probably the beginning, like not the beginning, the end of March, like in that area, and then yeah. Because if we're talking for 2 to 3 weeks, and then yeah.
Do you remember what you did the first time you met him?
Yes.
What did you do?
We hung out.
What do you mean by hung out?
Objection, Your Honor. Sidebar.
All right, the objection is granted in part and denied in part.
You stayed at your house that evening before April 11th, correct? And when you woke up in the morning, do you remember what time you woke up?
No, but it was like early, I think.
Excuse
I
me?
believe we woke up early, like around 10.
10 o'clock
Yeah,
in the morning?
I believe so.
Okay, and did Daunte wake up at that time also?
I believe so, yeah. When if one of us is up, the other is also up.
All right, and that was about 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
And do you know whether or not Daunte Wright had smoked marijuana that morning?
Yes.
And did he?
Yes.
And was that right after he got up?
I'm not too sure, but I believe so.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor, to make sure I have this, your mandate correct? When Daunte Wright was smoking the marijuana, was that in your home?
Yes.
And were you smoking marijuana too?
Yes.
And I believe the evidence previously was that he, and I might be incorrect on this, that he arrived at his mother's house at about 11.
Yeah.
So, and if you got up at approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, you and him smoked some marijuana before he went out to his mother's, correct?
So I wasn't sure about the 10, but
No, I
it
know.
was just an estimate, but yes.
Okay. And on the way out there, did you smoke any marijuana in his automobile?
No.
It was just in your house?
Yeah. Well, on the way to his mother's house, yes.
Okay.
No, we didn't smoke in. Like, it was in my house, but on the way to his mother's house, no, not in the car.
Okay, but you smoked it at your mother's house.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And was it one joint, or did you smoke 2 joints, or did you? One? Did
Yeah.
you split it?
We had together. We smoked it together, yes.
And who supplied it, you or him?
Objection, Your Honor. Irrelevant.
The objection is sustained.
Okay. And did you, after smoking this marijuana, feel that it had affected you at all?
No, Your Honor. Well, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
But thank you.
No, not any
Okay.
disabling effects, no.
You had observed Mr. Wright prior to this for at least a week or 2. Could you tell whether or not the marijuana that he had smoked had affected him at all?
It did not.
You could tell that.
Yeah. Yes.
And why were you going out to his mother's? Do you remember that?
He just wanted to go see his mom. I don't remember specifically what the reason was. We were always together, so.
Did you meet his mom prior to that time at all?
Not personally, no.
And you stayed in the vehicle
Yes.
while he went in the house that morning, correct?
Yes.
And why was that?
Because, I've never seen his son or his mom, so, I just stayed in the car. I didn't want to intrude.
Okay. He didn't want to introduce you to his mom?
Intrude. I didn't want to intrude.
Intrude?
Yes.
And you had 2 phones that day, fair statement?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to answer yes or
Oh,
no.
sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
So sorry.
And one phone was for you,
Yes.
and I'm not quite sure I understand what the other phone was used for.
So what the other phone was used for, it was just both my phones. Like, they were just phones.
Okay,
Yeah. Like,
why did you have 2 phones?
I just had 2 phones.
No real reason?
Yeah, I didn't use any for them for specific reasons. I just had 2 of them.
And Daunte did not have a phone that morning?
He did have a phone.
Okay, well, when he called his mother, he used your phone, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because his phone wasn't working. I gave him my Xfinity Wi-Fi.
Now, after, we'll withdraw that question. I believe you testified, and I apologize if I didn't quite catch it right, because it was, besides being old and hard of hearing a little bit,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what you're saying because you're crying.
Yeah.
But I believe you said that Daunte drove down the road after he was shot. Is that right?
He did not drive down the road. His hands were not on the wheel.
Okay.
His foot was on the gas.
Well, was his hands on the wheel in the beginning?
His hands were never on the wheel.
And how do you remember that specifically?
I remember that specifically.
Okay, and did he turn on the vehicle?
The vehicle was never off.
Are you sure of that?
I don't think it was, because how would it have just started if it was never...
You may continue.
So, do you remember specifically whether or not the vehicle was on or off?
I do not.
Your Honor, I'm cross-examining the witness.
All right, excuse me. You may answer.
I do not recall specifically.
Okay, thank you. And the injuries you received, which were serious, right?
Yes.
were caused by the car accident.
Yes.
You didn't receive any injuries from any other incident, correct?
No.
And you mentioned on direct examination, I believe you said that you did not have a good past with police?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I keep doing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
I'm going to let you answer. I mean, I think she testified to that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. My father was, he is, well, an ex-criminal. I don't know what you would call that, but we've had encounters with the law enforcement before, and most times they were never good whenever it was around my dad. So it was just growing up seeing, just negative encounters with the police.
Between your father and the police?
Yes.
Not between you and the police?
No. I was
And
too young.
did you live with your father after you were 12 years old?
No.
You lived with your godmother?
I lived with my mother.
And where was that?
I lived with my mother at 12 years old. I was on the east side of St. Paul.
When this incident happened, your mother was living up north. Is that a fair statement?
That is correct.
And you're living down here with your godmother?
Correct.
And that would be in St. Paul?
Yes.
And how long had you lived with her?
I've lived with her since I was about 14.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Yes.
Just a couple more questions. As far as you know, the car was never turned off. Is that right?
Object to that as leading, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he
You
asked,
already answered the question as leading.
he asked multiple times.
All
I'd like
right.
to clarify.
Okay. Counsel, you're going to have to rephrase your question.
I will rephrase. As far as your memory goes,
Yeah.
was the car off or on during the entire time?
I do not recall, but I do believe that it was on, but I do not recall.
Not responsive, the last part of that. She said she didn't remember.
Okay.
That's your testimony.
Counsel, one-word objections, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are there parts of this incident that are difficult to recall?
Yes, there are.
And why is that?
Because I sustained a severe concussion and a little bit of a breakdown afterwards.
Was this a traumatic incident for you?
Yes.
Your boyfriend was shot right in front of you, right?
Yes.
Object to that as leading and move it be stricken, Your Honor.
Oh.
It's obviously not.
Okay, the objection is overruled. I'll let the answer stand.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on your memory today, what was the situation with the car when you were pulled over?
Object to that as a vague question. What was the situation? I don't know. what-
Would you like to rephrase
I will
that,
rephrase.
Counsel?
Based on your best recollection, was the car off or on and running during your interaction with police that day?
Same objection, Your Honor. She's already asked that. I've asked it.
All right, excuse me. Counsel, could you clarify the time that you're referring to?
Sure. At the time that you were pulled over by the police with Mr. Wright, Daunte, based on your recollection, was the car running? Was it still on or was it off?
It was running.
Okay. Now, at some point after the car drove off,
Yes.
you were removed, is that right?
Yes.
Are you unclear today about when exactly the car was turned off?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what you're testifying to today?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
once again, what your testimony was, or what your memory is that after, obviously, he was driving the car before he was stopped, correct?
Okay, sorry, will you say it again?
Pardon me?
Can you say it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was obviously driving the car before he was stopped, correct?
Yes.
And when he was stopped, the car was running, correct?
Yes.
And after the car was stopped, you don't recollect, you don't remember if the car was off or on. Fair statement?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Payton, you may step down. Thank you.